pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and welcome everyone. We'll now open the public hearing for the sewer rate increase. Any public comment? I'll wait till 6:02 just to see if anybody shows up. It's a little different than the last time we discussed the rate increase.
Yeah.
A little quieter.
Can we raise
There's
it
no
more?
pitchforks and.
Yeah. Can we raise it more so we don't have to do it again later?
We'll have the pitchforks and torches next time.
Yeah.
I expect Mr. Potter to be here literally 2 minutes after we quit.
Yeah.
Don't have a little bit of anything to say about it.
You see that back here?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, we need to do it one more time, so it's over 3 years.
Okay, because this says effective January 2024 is the first one.
Oh, and that's a typo, because it.
Which one?
Right here, it says effective January 2024.
Oh, yeah, typo, 2025.
Okay, that's a typo. Okay.
Yeah, retroactive rate.
There you go, nobody should have.
Everybody goes with $12.
That would go.
But I make note. And then that would be,
And I've read that several times.
Yeah, because I thought it was going to be $2 and then another dollar.
Yeah, it should be 25, 26, and 27.
yeah, okay.
Good catch.
Good catch. I got
My
got
word
it.
for the year, until the end of December.
For the final meeting, I make sure the dates are correct.
Yeah, the one, the signing was right.
Yeah.
That's one that came.
Yeah.
If there's no objections, I will now conclude the public hearing. Okay, we will now move into our study session for tonight. Approval of the December 5th business session minutes.
Motion to approve.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next, the approval of the bills list.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public comments? Hearing none, we will move on to committee reports. Administration and Finance Committee, fund balances look good. The main thing I think right now is we're running 940, we're 900, a little bit over $940,000 in total of all funds right now. Just bearing in mind that when we've been kind of sitting on that ARPA cushion now for a couple of years, that's $560,000, so just we'll need to be a little more vigilant. I think we've been vigilant and responsible, but it definitely is nice to have that little cushion sitting back there. But I guess the other part of it is that we do still have that CD for the Fund 20. And I don't know if I put that on my spreadsheet or not. It's $50,000 in the meter fund and $25,000 in the Fund 20, so I don't know, were those 6 months or 12 months, do you remember?
6 months.
So so they'll be coming around shortly. Just something from and we'll get into this a little more in a bit, but just from a policy standpoint, from looking at the admin piece, and the policy's been reviewed, is when employees want to take time off, they request time off. So it's, Joe, I would like to be off Tuesday.
Okay.
And then Joe says, okay or not okay. It isn't, I'm saying, Joe, I will be off Tuesday. It has to be approved. I think we've had some issues with folks looking at workflow and scheduling their time off accordingly. So I'm gonna make a mess over here and then let Ruben clean it up tomorrow when he comes in. And so I think the only way you fix that in the long term is I can't approve your time off. You're gonna need to be here. If you're not here, then it's gonna be an unapproved, and then after you get whatever the policy is on that,
After the fifth one.
if the fine is unapproved, then you don't work here anymore.
Well, no, after the fifth one, it's.
A written warning.
And then, after the sixth and seventh one, those are unpaid time off, and then after the eighth one, termination. But it also states in the policy that we can skip steps,
Right. Because I think we've had, I think it's one of those things like a cancer, it just spreads through the organization because, well, you did that to me, well, I'll get you next time. And it's gotta end. And it's not constructive or productive. And so you may be, I know all of you have different employees have different relationships with different aldermen. But if they approach you, just be aware that that is a policy, and I don't.
Well, that's none of our concern.
I agree, but I know that at times they do reach out to y'all. So.
Well, if they do, they get directed back to that man right there.
Very good. That's the right answer.
That's not my
Just wanted to make sure everybody.
Don't assume anything. The only question I have, when he gets over there, does he take first person's request, or is it by seniority, or how does that work? Or
Schedule.
how important that person might be to
Yeah,
the-
and what's going on in the situation, if there's something
Okay.
that has to be dealt with, and
Right.
that's what person does that job, and they can't take it off.
Of the job that,
Yeah.
I see.
If you know that the judge is only here on these days and he needs these things done, then it's hard for me to let you be off unless you can get that
True.
done prior.
Okay. Fair enough.
So you may hear something, you may not, but that's it. Public health and safety.
I think the report's in there.
Yes, it is.
But I added another line to this for the calls for service, which we had 136 this last month. That's the calls we go on that we didn't take reports.
I'm sorry,
And then-
what was that, chief?
What's that?
You said what it
136 calls for service that,
Correct.
where they didn't take reports there.
okay.
And then we had I added on mine that we had the shop with the cop on Tuesday night. We had 12 kids that we took out. They had pizza here, and then we shopped at Walmart, Oak Grove, and then came back and wrapped gifts, so they had a pretty good time. It went well. Santa was here, Santa bus took them over there, and we all survived that trip. So.
Says about $2,000.
What's that?
She says about $2,000.
Yeah, it's like 19 and a quarter.
Great, good program, chief.
That's good.
Good job.
That's all I've got.
Into the park board proxy.
I don't think there's been much change.
Planning and zoning.
We haven't had any meetings.
Public works.
I'd like to say one thing. Tuesday, I attended the Jackson County meeting, and then Wednesday, me and Alderman Jones attended it. And after the meeting, me and Alderman Jones had a chance to talk to all the legislators. And Manny, I keep pronouncing his last name, I ain't even gonna try.
Mark.
Okay. And Sean Smith suggested to us that in order to expedite it and make sure we get our share of the bucket, that we need to have.
In there too.
Huh?
And then Hernandez.
Yeah. And we need to have our plan that we have in place that we already sent them. We just sent them the rough copy of this, we got right here. they suggest that we actually have it, blueprints drawn up, contracts almost in place, and we have, when it comes time for us to turn it in, we can just say, here you go, and turn it into us. And so I asked Jim to get this all together and bring it in front of you guys, because it's gonna be a cost to draw plans up and all that. I just wanna make sure, one, that you guys agree with it.
One of the questions I have is, if the county ends up doing what I heard was that they would use the ARPA money to make payroll and then reimburse that money out of the payroll general fund to cover that. Does that then take the urgency off of the need to spend that money now? Because they essentially did spend the money on reimbursing the general fund.
Yeah.
So,
And that's-
but I mean, I understand we want to do,
Yeah.
but in the email I sent Mr. Barca, I had indicated that we could be ready within 2 weeks, but that we didn't have the money to commit if they don't give us the money.
Yeah, and that's what he said, and that's what he talked about. He said he wanted us to get our plans in before Troy Schulte, and this would be just have the plans ready to go. I mean, it's not lock us into any kind of money situation like, you know, we guarantee to do it. But he suggests that, so.
And
And
does that what the cost?
it sounds like it's gonna be, like, so they're gonna take 35 million, stick it into the bucket for, what they call it,
Disadvantaged communities is one, and infrastructure on the other.
There was City of Blue Springs had 3-4 projects they wanted funded, there was Grandview, and so they're trying to get to the smaller communities. And so, if you want to explain the contracting,
Got this, I see.
Yeah, so we took all of the water lines that Joe and I looked at previously that we submitted to the county. Was it $5.5 million worth, the cost estimate we put together. So that turns out to be a little over 25,000 feet of water lines to be replaced, about half the town. And so we put design fee, surveying, design, bidding, construction administration, and construction observation all in that contract. It's in, I think Joe gave you a copy of
That's
that.
the task order for.
Yeah, actually, it should be number 5, which is 4 is what we used on the wastewater plant recently.
yeah, we have to read this, but yeah. So it's looking like 26, about 260,000?
I mean,
What if they say that they're only gonna give you a certain amount towards that, then what do we do?
Well, I didn't put in here, but I guess if we could work through that to, if there's a difference in the money that you get, then what we think is the $6 million, then everything gets ratcheted down accordingly. So,
See,
I
so.
mean, we don't want to stick you with something that you may not get.
Yeah, would that suit them though, to say, okay, or should we have a plan for that? If they come in less, we have to say, okay, we'll cut this main out, or would we have
Well,
to?
we did it in 5 separate projects for that purpose to you know, prioritize what that looks like.
Okay,
So I think that would be our response.
okay.
And so if we have to drop the 5th project to meet budget,
Well, and the other is, I mean, if we engage, I mean, if we approve the plan, you don't have to start on the plan until we have the money, right?
Right.
Because if we commit, I mean, my concern was, we've been sitting on this other thing for 11 years. We know what we need to do, we just need to find the money. So my concern is that we go in at $260,000 and we do this, and then all of a sudden they pull the rug out from under us and we get nothing. Now
That's
we're
my
down
concern, too.
260, and we've got documents and that's great, but we don't have the means to fund the project. So I didn't know if we could have this all teed up, but you don't, so you've got the packages together, but you don't start actually drawing things until they tell us whether we're getting the money or not.
Yeah, so however you guys want to, if we word that in the contract that way, or
whatever your preference is, we're willing to work with
I mean,
them.
I mean, it's definitely something we need to do.
But is one contingent upon the other, like?
Yes.
They said, if you have all this stuff ready to go, blueprints, blah, 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 you're more likely to get money.
Well, we're not gonna have blueprints by next Tuesday.
Right.
So,
Well, it sounds like what I saw on the latest news this afternoon was they won't even start considering people until middle of spring next year or somewhere at the earliest, you know what I'm saying? They still trying to figure out a policy of how to even divide that
Yeah,
up.
they don't even have a time frame
Yes.
for what they're gonna do.
Yeah, that's why Sean, this is a whole bunch of kids that he didn't vote on it. So, I mean, how long would it take, let's just say in March, they tell us, all right, come up with your city plans, how long would it take to get the city plans
Yeah.
actually developed?
If I remember right, the date I put in there was March 1st. And, I mean, if we need to meet that faster, we can.
but 90 days would be,
Yeah, I mean, that's
Well, it
realistic,
takes forever.
yeah.
All right.
And I guess the other question is, you know, they were suggesting we get something in there before Schulte leaves. And when is that, you know, is that into January?
that's,
or-
yeah, because didn't he give his notice or something the day when we were there?
Well, but they didn't give us no timeline. I was at the meeting, when we was at that meeting, and he said that he was gonna stay around until the new budget was put in place and the new assessments of the property tax were put in place, and then he was gonna leave, so,
He may be there a long time.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I asked Mandy this afternoon, and he couldn't give me a time frame either, because I texted Mandy and asked him, I said, hey, when's it, we have to have it in?
And I would think.
And then he's just good from numbers.
I mean, I think if we could have something together in 30 days from the time of the funding, they've got, I mean, I think that they would understand as well that we, you know, if we had the money, we'd already be doing the project, so.
Yeah, we don't even need them, yeah.
But I mean, obviously, you'll find that you can do what you want, but I would caution about committing, just kind of, you know, we're gonna be down to, after we do the other stuff on the wastewater treatment side, we're gonna be staring at a account funds balance of $400,000 and the water sewer. Water sewer right now is $56,000, so we're gonna be $200,000 over that. Now, I mean, that's one of the reasons why we're doing the rate adjustment, because we're losing $3,000 a month or something.
So your suggestion was to wait until it reworded the contract?
I think we reworded to make, if possible, that it would be contingent upon us receiving the funding, the ARPA funding from the county or whoever authorizes it, because otherwise we're gonna be spending
Money we don't
a
have.
decent chunk of money on something we can't buy.
Yeah, no, that's the
okay
same
with-
way.
That's okay with you also, right?
Yeah, we wanna do everything we can so you have the best bang for your buck to get the money. So whatever we need to do to help you make that happen, and we're here to do that.
And that's enough for them for right now? Jackson?
That's the direction I think we should go in. My opinion.
Mr. Jones, you're looking like you're thinking hard.
Trying to stay away from it.
He's one of trouble.
No, I think it'd be great to get this thing started. It seemed like forever ago to pass something. It's kind of like everything the government does. They set on for 2-3 years and then it comes down to the last day and a half and try to make everything happen at that point.
Yep.
Yeah, they've sat on this money for what, 3 years?
3 years now, yeah.
All right, well,
So-
you can give us something that matches up with that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yep,
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate you coming down.
Thank you for the chop.
Yeah.
I don't see any fairs and festivals folks here. Next up, bill number 2406,
this is one of the new, you might want to explain the new changes to it.
Okay, we did talk, several weeks ago, and we had kind of a stair-stepped plan. When I got to looking at it, kind of the simple plan was right now the flat fee was 17, we take that to 20. And that way it doesn't matter how much water you're using. And we would just do that starting January 1st, and we'll do the initial step up, and then we do $1 for the next 2 years. And that should give us, it also gives us a chance to see if we need to course correct, but,
This is much easier to understand.
yeah, it's easier to explain. And, we're not trying to get cute and backdoor somebody on this.
I think it's more fair.
The difference on the actual ordinance would be the start date would be 2025, 26, and 27. What you got in front of you says 24, 25, 26. Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Second.
Is that a roll call?
Do we have, who made the motion?
All in favor of suspending the rules?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Second reading, bill number 2408, ordinance number 1095, an ordinance amending section 700.190C, user payment schedule of the city of Butler, Missouri municipal code.
Move to approve.
Second.
Now this will be a roll call.
Alderman Jones?
Aye.
Alderman Frye?
Aye.
Alderman Lockhart?
Aye.
Alderman Lewis?
Aye.
Alderman Hill?
Aye.
Thank you. New business, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding approval of bids for the construction of a reed bed system. We've talked about this one for a while too, so, there's some much more detail than what I felt qualified to say. So I don't know, Mr. Ross, would you like to tell us what we're looking at?
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with the reed beds, basically building 2 large ponds and dividing them in concrete walls. And you put in layers of gravel and sand, specific types, plant the reeds. The reeds grow to 12 to 15 feet tall, and then they uptake the sludge from the wastewater, so it reduces the sludge in a drastic amount. And then once a year, you light them on fire and you burn them all, and it starts all over again.
That didn't kill the roots when you do that, Jim? Wonderful. So that planting only has to be done one time.
Right. We'll say Blue Springs went, what, 14 years, I think, before they ever had to do anything to theirs. Because the sludge will build up over the years, you know, kind of like dirt and silt in a pond. So you strip out the roots and clean up the top of either the gravel or the sand, and then replant. But it said they went 14 years without ever having to do it again. So if you think about, if we can get 14 years, and the cost proposal from the reed bed, the reed distributor was $90,000 to provide them, to plant them, and give you 2 years of assistance, basically, to make sure that they're getting the nutrients they need, and you're giving them, you're rotating the beds enough so they, you know, that they can make it through the winter, obviously. So they provide that assistance in that contract, which is
The next one.
separate from the contractor's bid. So the end result today, we had 3 bidders, all within $100,000 of each other, between what, $830,000 and $970, I believe. So all within the anticipated budget to construct it all and put all the piping. And I will say one thing that we didn't get put on there was the length of the fence, and so that will be something we can adjust as we go forward. But covers all the rest of it. So if we tie into the existing sludge holding tank, and put a flow meter in there, that would be valved off, so whenever you want to distribute the sludge to the reed beds, the valving will give you 4 different options. So if you want to do bed number 1 for the next couple of weeks, and then you change it to bed number 2, and then 3 and 4, and you alternate through them over the year, so they get a consistent amount, and you keep enough nutrients to keep the reeds alive and let them do their job. So it's a pretty simple system.
How's it work in the winter?
So just the same, I mean, if the surface layer does freeze, it doesn't hurt anything, and it's just kind of, well, like in your pond, cattails, similar family, but these reeds are specific to the area. What they found out over the years, that
They're somewhat invasive, I think.
they can be, so they make it native to this area, and if they're not native, then they have found that they are very invasive. So, yeah, make sure we mow around them and keep them from jumping out, but
How do they get rid of sludge and when they become dormant in the winter?
they still uptake it.
They still do?
The roots do, yeah.
Wow.
Though they're not as efficient in the winter, obviously, but yeah, it still works.
So did it take care of that chemical problem in Blue Springs over the winter that we're having a problem with?
It will reduce, because we're taking all the sludge, rather than it staying in your clarifier or your oxidation ditch, get all that out, then we've got more oxygen and less ammonia.
Okay.
If we take the ammonia portion out of it, and then there should be no reason you don't pass your ammonia limits.
Somewhere in the back of my mind, I remember somebody saying something about if we built the concrete receptacle to put these reeds in, yada, yada, but also that we could perhaps take a soil sample to see if we even need to take that first step and just put it straight in the ground.
Yeah, they won't let you do it straight in the ground. We'll let you do a reed bed system, but we don't have to build it out of concrete walls. You've got clay out there that we can compact and basically build it like a pond. And all the layers of media that's in the bottom it's only like 2 feet deep. So we just, to make it cheaper, put Jersey barriers in the middle to be the divider for the beds, rather than.
So on these bids that we have, do you know, was that the specs they were going off of?
Yes, those are the plans and specs that we submitted to everybody. And let's say the difference between the bids is less than 10% between high and low, so I consider that a pretty decent bid. I've seen a lot of them lately that are a lot different than, a lot bigger gap than that. So I think that shows us that information was consistent and everybody understood it equally. Low bidder was Earthworks Excavation out of Higginsville. Second was Blade Contracting, the county's affiliated with. And then the third one was out of Butler, not worked with them before, don't have any experience with them.
So,
Any other questions?
one of the things, and I don't remember the rules on this, on Fund 20, when we built this building, right now we're at about $500,000 that we paid down. So we have some capacity there, because we're gonna be about $275,000 short. When you look at what we've got in ARPA money to finish off this stage, so we're gonna have to get that money somewhere. My thought would be is if we went back and we could borrow against that Fund 20 account, that's our capital improvement fund, so it's restricted asset, but does that require a vote if it's not changing a levy or an assessment? I don't think it does.
Because it was passed at the capital asset improvement. So it wasn't passed just to build City Hall, you know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
So, yeah.
So.
That should be a vote of the council rather than having to go back out. to
Right, so then it'd just be a matter of
I mean, we can check with
going
Lee to
to the
make
bank
sure.
or whoever and seeing if they would lend us or D.A. Davidson or whomever.
Right.
Yeah, do we need to get that, for sure finalized before we move on?
Well, this one is kind of where we're in the same boat as Jackson County.
Yeah.
And that's why we're doing this, because after we sat through that deal the other day down there, I asked Joe to find out where are we in a compliance standpoint. So if we vote to approve this, then that gets us compliant with, so they don't take our money back.
Yeah.
Right.
But we don't have to start it today, we just
Yeah.
have to have it committed by 12/31.
Yeah, and realistically, I mean, unless we have a really warm winter, you know, most of this is dirt work, so we're not gonna be compacting dirt in cold weather, so it'll be a few months probably before it gets started.
And we can put in the contract, so stop time came, like to buy us more time.
We just need to kind of bit as a board.
Well, I was gonna say, and I mean, and I have no quibble with Mr. Benson or D.A. Davidson, but I know they got in too. So each layer we put in there, there's somebody taking a piece of the action. And can I just go down to Central Bank and talk to Lori or whomever and say, hey, we need about $275,000 to do this project. Would you guys lend us that? And what, you know, I know there's some rules because municipalities have to do things differently, but, at least buyback, I know that works, but man, that's a lot of voodoo looking stuff. But I mean, you do what you gotta do, but
I mean, that's what we did with those two dump trucks that we bought back in 2015, one of those at least, but just, those were over 200,000 for that, was when we bought both of them, something like
no, it's a good purchase. Just keep rubbing salt in that one, Joe. So we do need to, I mean, we look at this. The other thing is, I mean, there's a few reasons to do this. One is, we get, I don't know if Ms. Yates is still with the state or not, but we get every year in December a love letter explaining that our nitrate levels, I think it was, or ammonia levels, maybe both, are too high in our outflow down here. And at one point, one of the previous public works individuals was just stuffing them in a drawer and not doing anything with them. And that didn't leave so then I'm personally getting letters, wanting to know, and there's substantial fines associated with not doing it, but if you make a good, as I understand, if you make a good faith effort to try to remediate the problem, they won't come after you, but if you don't do something, they'll start pinching you to get it done.
Like $1,000 a day or something.
Yeah, I think it is up to $1,000.
Yeah.
So on the negative side of that, you know, get that money.
Well, no, this is a different, but this is money we've already got,
that. It's in the
I'm
bank.
talking about the 200.
275.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm talking about
If
that.
If the bank tells us no.
This is to get the ball rolling, I'm talking about that.
And I think, I feel, I mean, I can go do that probably tomorrow afternoon. I can go meet with the bank. But if we don't commit something, and we're not giving him a go,
Sorry,
if we don't approve the project or approve something, I guess that we do the same thing, that we approve payroll payments. The good news is, we don't have a $500,000 payroll, so we can pay all of our bills for several months on $500,000, a quarter of our annual budget. But getting that done helps get us in compliance with the outflow issue on the plant, and it locks down the money that we don't have to give our money back either.
And this is our last meeting for the year. We need to get it done, so.
I mean, I think we can do the same thing again. I'm eminently confident we can get the money. It just may cost us more. And I mean, we're looking, what, the 10-year treasury was, what, approaching 5 now. I mean, interest rates are going up, but I think if we can get it locked in now, we may be better than later. But, I mean, and then we'll pick up $100,000 on the backside because we pay $25,000 a quarter to have,
Got it.
come pump that sludge out of there.
Right.
Got it.
So, it's almost at a run rate if we take that money. And then if you figure that we'll be looking at another, what, $3,000 a month, I guess that's not very much. Start looking at it, but with the rate changes, I mean, that delta, there'll be a little bit of extra. There's $36,000 a year there that should be picking up.
Right.
And that'll stack year over year until it's $100,000.
Be cheaper to pay interest rates.
So, so I guess what I'm looking for is a motion to move forward with the project, and we don't have to go forward with it tonight. We just have to approve the concept of going forward. with the
So
project.
we don't have to necessarily pick one of these tonight, we can just say we want to move forward.
I don't know, I'm sure there was dates, or timestamps on this bid that they're good for.
I would say,
Less than
make a
30
motion
days.
to approve the lowest bidder and have authorized staff to enter into the agreement with them.
I'll say other agencies that I've worked with in regards to ARPA money, I asked them point blank, tell me what complies. And they suggested a written signed contract with whatever. So, I had to go chase contractors down in South Dakota last week for this exact same issue. We had to have signatures on a contract before their last board meeting, or the state would not accept it.
So we
So, I've
So
not
we
heard
can
that
put it-
directly from Missouri, but that's just an example.
Yeah, I would make a suggestion that we approve the lowest bidder, go into contract with them, and then we could put in the contract when the start date would be, as far as.
I mean, and again, because we would, the worst thing that happens is you lose the 560. That would be bad.
Yeah.
Very bad. But if you put that same caveat in there that it's contingent upon finding financing, then the worst that you did would, we're no worse off than if we did nothing. And you've got that 560 in play, and if we can't, because we're credit worthy, we cash flow. So I believe that we can
Yeah,
we can get some, I mean, Mr. Benson indicated there was numerous ways to go about it.
Yeah.
I just was trying to stay away from some of these where they hook you to where you kind of step one, step two things.
Right.
I'd like to do this project and get it paid for, and then we can do the next project and get it paid for, and so that we don't have a big debt balloon hanging over us, so, I think we can do that, so, and in my mind, so, we'd, need a motion to approve the lowest bid and move forward with Bartlett and West.
yeah, it's not with us, that's
No, with,
Yeah.
contract between you and the contractor.
Right, oh, no, I meant for like project management,
Yeah.
the
Oh,
other
yeah.
5 steps that were, or 4 steps, I guess, the 5 steps.
Well, that part you've already committed to.
Oh, okay.
So we just need a motion to move forward with this in the contract.
To approve, yeah, motion to approve the contract with Earthworks and allow staff to
Enter into an agreement,
do into the agreement.
subject to
So,
the schedule of funding, something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
the acquisition of the financing.
yeah.
I'll let you folks work.
yeah, you can't put that.
That's out of my pay grade.
I can't remember what you just said.
So a motion to approve the low bid and move forward with the project contingent upon receiving financing.
Check that down.
That's right. Motion to approve. Lowest bid. And, say that again?
Move forward with the project.
That's it? You said a lot more than that.
Contingent upon acquiring financing.
Word. Contract. Contingent. On finance.
Is he done?
Okay, I'll make the motion with the contract contingent of finance.
That's easy to say.
Well, it's easy to say, it wasn't easy to remember.
Is there a second? Any additional discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, sir.
Yep. I think I got the next one too.
Yeah.
Discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding agreement with constructed wetlands.
So this is the supplier of the reeds. In that contract, they assist in design, which they already have. But they'll provide, excuse me, provide the reeds, come do the planting, work with the contractor when we first start up the process to make sure they're not getting too much water or too, excuse me. And then to provide the city assistance for 2 years to make sure that things are going like they should. So you get the right amount of growth through the reeds. And the amount of sludge uptake and all that, they'll work through all the details there. That's not a part of us at all. That's specific to that supplier.
And that's the 13,500 one.
No, it's,
The total's 90.
Okay.
it's different phases.
Yeah.
Oh,
Start up.
what?
Total is 90,000.
90.
Yes, because the startup's 13.5, construction's 49.5,
But we
post
most,
construction 27, for a total of 90.
but we wouldn't do that until after we got to after the circle, the thing we just got done approved.
Yeah, they would work with the contractor through the whole process and we purposely separated that out from the bid from the contractors. So that's not getting a double dipped. So.
So there's the 90,000 and then right below that it's got phases 1 through 3.
Right.
Yeah.
3.
That's breaking down to 90,000, so you had all those.
Okay, that's my question.
That's the math I just did.
It sums up to the total of 90 for all those phases.
So it's
Yeah.
not additional.
No, yeah, it's just a breakdown, so you guys know what each phase is gonna cost.
This phase 2 has 2 steps, phase 3 has 2 steps, dollars and cents wise.
Yeah.
Well, there goes the 100,000 you're gonna save in bonds. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Thanks, Ruben.
Yeah, but it's stacks, but you just put that $100,000 every year.
It's true, you just gotta get past that first year.
Yeah.
That's a big one to fight.
Yep.
So is there a motion to move forward?
I'll make that motion to move forward. Can't stop now.
I'll say the ditches without the reeds.
Yeah. Yep. Do I have to say it different? I'm gonna make
No.
it, okay. They go
Motion
down?
approved.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any additional discussion?
Real quickly, these are estimated dates, correct, for the different phases?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because their dates will have to be subject to the contractor's work.
Yeah. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now you can relax. And next up, discussion of public works. I didn't see it in here. But I did, put together a little task list,
I forgot to email that to you, that's my fault.
okay, yeah, and when you emailed it to me, it was showing some kind of edit thing, and since I didn't have, Microsoft Office on my phone, I couldn't do anything with it either.
I can run it and print it off if I need to.
just kind of, what I wanted is to try and level set, because Kyle, was very gracious and showed me the plant down there. I mean, we walked through and kind of looked at what we got. And a few things that, and I don't know that Joe knows, or why would you know necessarily, but, I remember Mr. Walcott on several occasions asking about the potholes. And I was, I go pick up the stuff and bring it out if it's cold. Apparently we were buying 5-gallon buckets of asphalt.
Full patch.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was, we got that trailer that I thought, we'd go buy thousands of pounds, and we were, so no wonder why we were only catching 1 or 2 holes, because you couldn't pave my driveway with what we got out there. Now, I have no idea what that stuff costs, but I can't believe that it's financially as advantageous as to buy it in bulk and spread it. So, just kind of got to look at things, and I know that several of you have asked about the meters. And I don't think we got exactly a straight, I think we got a factually correct maybe answer, but it wasn't the question that I think most of us were asking. I was told that there's about what I asked to have it broke down was how many meters are not sending a signal, how many meters are not reading, period, how many estimated bills we were sending out, because like expressly said numerous times, I don't want estimated bills, because when we catch those up, it invariably throws people into that higher category, and then we're gouging folks, and it's just not. So I'd ask Joe and Kyle to get us just a little sheet so we can kind of follow along each month, because there was 200 some meters that.
So right here, this is a folder of all the meters that don't communicate with the system from City Hall. We can read it from City Hall, obviously. And this is a whole stack right here. There's 183 meters that do not read. So every month we're going out, well, ideally it'd be going out manually reading every meter that doesn't communicate so we can get an accurate reading. From my understandings and discovery, last month, I don't know about the previous months, but last month it was 183 or 186, I think. The list got sent out and it was asked for multiple times to be returned, and one of our department people discovered the paperwork ripped up and stuff underneath the seat of the truck. So therefore that put it too far behind to go out and manually read, because if you go past 33 days, then you're gonna move everybody into a different bracket on the amount of water that they use in consumption. So that's gonna throw it off 1 month, and then you gotta try and recover the next month. So that wasn't feasible. So they were estimating all the meters last month. They all got estimated last month. When this report when he sent the report out for me to fill it out and give you guys information on it, we were short-handed this month, and it hit up the day, or he wanted it, or sent it out, he wouldn't want it, but sent it out the day we were reading meters. So we have to wait to get them in. Once we get them in, we go out and manually read them. With the way that aligned with our employees being here, we only got 101 of them manually read this month. So it's progress, but it's not good. So we had to estimate the 70 some, or the 82 that we had to estimate this month. Granted, there's sometimes, if you have to manually read them, it's not ideal to open the meter pit when it's below freezing, because then you take chances of people's meters freezing up and stuff like that. So I can see in certain scenarios estimating is okay, but ideally you have this entire system that you paid for, and this is supposed to eliminate that issue, and it's kind of a perk to having it. You don't lose employees for 2 days to go manually read. It reads accurately, you can detect leaks and stuff like that. So I do have a plan in line to get employees to start getting meters fixed, MIUs, all that stuff, get that fixed and taken care of.
We were getting excuses as to why that system wasn't working off and on, and didn't they say there was a problem with them in Lexington and the lawsuit over
Wellington's got the same system we got at the same
Yeah,
time.
so, is there any way, is it any of that true, and is there any way of salvaging what we do have?
No, what's going on now, my understanding, is a lot of this batteries issues, batteries are dead. It's just clean, simple fix. It's a little going out there, snipping 2 wires for the batteries, putting the new ones in. So,
We've been dealing with it for quite a few years. Yeah.
The other thing that was kind of maddening was, we've got those barns and that lean-to and stuff down there, and just equipment being run through the weather. And that jetter had 4 flat tires just sitting out in the rain. That can't be good for it. The Bobcat had the lights busted off of it, and I think Mr. Miles told me last night, I think he used the term skid steer, and I wasn't thinking Bobcat, he said skid steer. And so I didn't realize what you were telling me and so when they were working down there at Casey's on that water line, they flipped that thing down in the hole. And that didn't do it any favors. The 2 tractors are crapped out. I mean, there was the 2 motors for the spreaders on the salt that I guess the shaft, the out shaft is the wrong size. So they don't fit the ones we have, but they left the devices sitting out in the rain again, so we can't return them. There's just lots of you don't have, I mean, I don't have to be a public works expert to know that you don't leave equipment that's sitting out in the weather. And it seems like I don't know, I mean, I can see people getting overwhelmed, that there's a lot of work to get done and not a lot of hands to do the lifting. But it's really frustrating to see the impact that it's got, the trucks, the cutting the wires on the blade, on the plow, and there's a plug right there, you just unplug the harness and they cut it. Don't know why. Just little things, and then the other piece, and you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't wish ill health on anyone, but I don't know. We've had an employee that hasn't showed up for work in over a week now, and are they sick? Are they not? I mean, they say they are, but we don't get calls every day to say, hey, I'm still sick and I'm not going to be in. And we don't have something from a medical professional saying, yeah, this person needs a leave of absence of however many days. So, I mean, I'm just really disappointed in, I mean, I feel like, again, it's our job to kind of set a strategic vision and then let the staff go execute on the job. That I hate being micromanaged, and I try my best not to do that to other people. But I think we kind of got the ball dropped on us here a little bit, that we thought stuff was getting done. We thought all this, or at least in my mind, I won't impute what you were thinking. Maybe you're thinking, Daryl, you sat, you're getting suckered in on this here. But I do think that Mr. Case has done a nice job in the 2 weeks, or how long you've been?
2 weeks.
So, I mean, I've never once before had anybody say, hey, I want you to come look at this, and I never really had a reason to think I needed to go look at that. And, I mean, there's just stuff I mean, again, I'm not the world's most organized guy either, so I can give a lot of grace in that realm, but I mean, there was just cracks sitting all over the shop down there. I mean, if you put stuff up on the shelves and put them away, you could got the jetter inside. And how do you flatten 4 tires at the same time? I mean, something just doesn't seem right. And so we'll keep working going forward to get better. And I think we got the first step here is having somebody who's committed and has an idea what good looks like, and we'll work towards that. And so, I mean, I'm not trying to dump on anybody, but I want y'all to know that, that maybe the world didn't look quite the way that that I thought it looked a month ago.
Well, we had a lot of pipes burst and a lot of emergencies, and we just thought, well, they're busy doing a lot of that, you know, that was part of my.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I always thought, you know, I'm so busy putting out fires, I can't buy smoke detectors.
Yeah,
But it's, but when you don't, then this is what you end up with. So, I mean, I'm not asking for anybody's head, but it's definitely the way it was is not the way it can be going forward. So I just ask if they, and I think that form can evolve over time as we get the meter thing in the rear view, then we'll look at other things. I mean, it's similar to, I have a similar form that I fill out for my boss every month and just what our key indicators are and just kind of walk through where we're at on different things. And
well, not that, there's a whole lot of public out there, but Kyle has a pretty extensive background to help us out here too. I was pretty impressed with that.
As a
I
matter
just
of-
like, sorry, go ahead, real quick, just in case you don't know, Kyle is the new public works director, so he's gonna be in charge of it, and he has goals and he has plans. I'll let him kind of show some of those.
The drinks.
Dreams, big dreams.
Well, when he first got hired, I told him, the number one thing is get the meters going, get the snow track going, and get potholes going.
So, the meter deal, the game plan is, right now, as long as weather's permitting, and I get the employees gathered up, we're gonna tackle the meters and do 20 a day. One of them seems to think that's a realistic number. Granted, they will be together at the same time. It's faster for one to put the meters in the ground while one runs the computer and programs and make sure all the numbers are correct and match up to our system. That way we're not getting any numbers mix match with different addresses, and then that's where we go back and double up on a job that we shouldn't be back on. So that'll be the game plan for the meters. If we do 20 a day, and I get them on it and just keep them on meters all day, and I run interference for little minor things here and there, we should be able to get back on track within probably about 2 weeks, give or take, weather permitting. That is, if we stay above 32, I'm not gonna have them messing around in the meter well anywhere from 32 and below, like that. I'm just not gonna do that. Expect 34 and up, for sure. We're gonna be in there, because obviously the lids are colored, so they're gonna gain heat. We're not gonna be in a bad situation from there. Equipment wise, jetter is back up and going with 4 new tires. We did have the tires down there. So I took that out and I put them on in my shop, put them on, they're good to go. With it sitting outside, I don't know what damage was done while we had that real cold spell there. If anything froze, cracked, split, anything like that, it is inside, so we will eventually test that when we get the chance to. Truck wise, we got one truck back, from the mechanic in town here. It's got new wiring harness for the salt spreader, new motor on it, so it's ready to go salt spreader wise. The plow, I have to dig it out of the weeds that's down in behind, a bunch of trailers and stuff out of the plant. We will get that out. I have to find the other fork first for the set of forks, because we're down. Don't know where it's at yet, but to get everything moved, we'll get that figured out. Test it, make sure it's ready, and that will put us with one full capable truck. The other truck, the plow, is the one that got the harness cut on it. So we are waiting for Viking to get that in, to get it taken over to the mechanic, to get that taken care of.
Is there an ETA on that?
There is not at the moment. It is a back order part from my understanding.
Big wires, and you're talking,
It is a 2-wire harness.
and what size wire?
I'm gonna say probably 4/8 is pretty good size.
4K.
And it's just your main harness that plugs right in.
Yeah.
Red and black, they cut the black. Because, I don't know if the plug could come apart or what the deal was.
They got a 4K wire, what?
I'm not quite sure, but they found some tools. They found some tools.
Took some effort.
Well,
Yeah.
we could probably solder something to get it going, and then time you want to fix it right.
Yes,
I know you already know that, you're a truck mechanic, so.
The second truck's got, that's not supposed to be the way to go on. the
Yeah,
second
the salt
truck.
spreader is good to go as long as it's not seized up or not being cleaned out the previous time. I know, something was kind of mentioned about some beds for the trucks, like checking into that. I have the quote that was found previously. Those beds won't work, they're 11-foot beds, and those are like an 84-inch cab chassis. Beds that won't work, the low new feet, that's not practical. I'd rather spend that money elsewhere on other things, due to the simple fact that I obviously see no respect for any of our equipment. So why would I buy the nice stuff just to run out of cement shooting it? I figured we'll patch what needs to be patched for, you know, the major parts or components, and run them that way until I see a little more respect out of our equipment, because that's gonna go a long ways with our tools and everything like that. The beet juice truck is the 99 Ford. We run around town in it with the tank and stuff. It's currently out of commission, waiting on new pumps for the system that goes in the back of the truck. Because those are seized up, locked up, they didn't get clean, didn't get anything run through them during the summertime. They left the tank on the truck over summer and stuff like that, whatever, maybe they didn't use it enough. The leaf springs are broke in it, so the rear end floats around back there. And I don't know what exactly keeps it in imagination at this point in time. If you were to go and start it, it's a trick. You gotta like turn it all the way on, then like slowly come back. It's got a wiring issue. It'll eventually start. Just don't know how many times you gotta turn the key back and forth. You always gotta jump start it. So that's one maybe we should consider looking into replacing. I priced like parts for it and stuff, and then what it's worth, and you're about $1,000 difference in what it would cost to repair compared to what it's worth, and then at that point, turn your engine kind of hole. Your potholes, we've got, I'll send the guys out with the pothole trailer the day before we decide to do potholes, and they'll go down at about 2 o'clock to pick up the hot mix and bring it back to the shop. We can plug it in, it keeps the material warm, and then we can go out the next day and actually fix potholes. The skid loader for loading salt and stuff, the bucket, you can see through the bucket, so there's not much of a bottom left in it. The side glass is blowed out, there's no door or frame, so there's no glass there, there's no lights on it, they're all blowed out. It's had a rough life, so that's, it won't start currently, so that's a issue to look into to figure out why that's like that. The tractors that you were talking about, the pumps, the hydro pumps, I believe are out of the new one. And that was like $25,000 to repair through ag. The old tractor, at least they covered the smokestack, so.
What are those tractors, what do we use those tractors for?
The last couple of years, I'd say nothing.
Paperweight. Paperweight.
Before, what do we have before?
The newer one, they would use it for
Brush hogging.
Brush hogging.
Behind Park Street, but they have bought a brush hog for the skid loader. So that kind of eliminates the need, yeah, it hasn't been used, but that kind of eliminates the need for having a tractor around, in my opinion. If, in my opinion, I would try and work a deal to get rid of both tractors and get you some money, and if you're gonna do that, you might as well throw the skid loader in and just get one package deal and see if you can get a deal on replacing your skid loader. We got a Ford Ranger pickup, transmission's out of it, it's an obsolete transmission, so, you have to get a remanufactured one or something like that. Pricing for those is right around $4,000 for the transmission, and then repairs, or, you know, labor, install and stuff like that, once again, you're about the cost of what the truck's for. So, our beet juice tanks, the little motor that sets on front that runs the pumps, the pull cord's not there, the cover's not there, and the cover that covers the air filter is missing as well, so it's been set on the other like that. So I don't know the condition of the state, it does have one, but I don't know.
That's what it's like.
No, that would be the one that runs the towers.
chill out too.
And, they don't know the last time that they've rotated the material in the tank. So, the longevity of that material, I don't know if it's any good or not. So we could be putting something good on the ground, or we could be just putting something that just looks like it. And not understand the meeting or working conditions.
Clearly you got all this in your head, can you put this on paper for us? I mean, maybe just send it to me.
Got it right here, quick out. Yeah, just, got all kinds of stuff here, so.
So what I'm hearing is if it snows, we might be able to put some salt down. We can't plow anything.
We, as of right now, a confident yes. I can't guarantee that the other plow works because it's down in the weeds. It's never been pulled out. It's sat there all summer.
I thought we said, he said we've got the 2 plows.
I was talking about the forward that's out at the other shop with the beet juice in it. It does have a plow on it.
Oh, does it? Okay.
But that truck is a safety issue. That's inoperable.
That's the one with the broken spring?
Broken springs, electrical issues, it's gonna piece together. The mechanic here, and the mechanic that it's had have both said like, there's nothing we can do.
Tell us for 3 years.
You can work through the bed bid, so I mean, that's kinda where we're at on equipment wise. We got a couple old pieces of equipment we can look at, surplusing if you guys wanna do that. We've never used, like an old sickle bar mower down there, old tractor blade, that kind of stuff, we can surplusing that.
What? I like to take a tour of that. Being a tractor mechanic for 40 years, I might have some insight. I'd like to take a tour, say tour, if you can show me some of that stuff. Well, not that, I'm not gonna agree with you.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I did get, just fair warning, I did have a talk with my client about trading deal or whatever, I don't know about anybody's out here, I just want to say,
Yeah.
How much you want?
they offered
That's a $2,000
$2,000 tractor, got $900, that's one was a bad hydro pump, $1,500 for the old tractor, and then $13,000 for our skid loader, and that's what the factory would have. And that was $2,500, so really we're only looking about $10,000 for our skid loader. So all in all, with the trade-in, that stuff, to get a new skid loader from Bobcat, it would be like $46,000, $47,000.
That's with the trade.
That's what they're gonna trade in. There's other companies that's gonna be cheaper than Bobcat. We're checking into that and getting them. But, other than that, I'd say truck wise, it can spend, all kinds of money. We looked at stuff, so we looked at the state to get like a used truck from the state, pick up or whatever. They're about 19 to 20,000, and then there's some on the marketplace that's used, that's got like 45,000 miles with a plow on it ready to go, that's in great shape for $22,000. I mean, you kind of gotta weigh your options or whatever, but those are just numbers that I gathered. So, you guys.
Our mechanic still the one that does the police stuff.
Yeah.
Still, that's the one that has been working on our equipment.
Yeah.
Where's he working on that at?
Osage.
He's got his own
He's got his
shop.
own shop, and he's done stuff on our site where we can lift.
Where's his shop at?
Going to Osage and Madison.
Here,
Works out
sit
back at
down.
his house. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
He's got a huge
okay,
shed, not shed, but
More building type
Yeah.
building.
yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any questions, feel free.
Now, can we have the bad news?
Well,
Yes, he probably has.
as soon as we get down here, we got a water problem. We have some people with,
I was just
we got
kidding.
8 person without water.
There went Christmas for my kids.
Appreciate it, a lot of information.
Sorry to jump it all.
No, that's what we need. Truth.
I just like to, again, thank the chief for taking care of those 12 kids at the Shop in Shop project, and, What's that, the rest of the year? Is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We stand adjourned.
I think I said more than enough.